home of the Cowboys, site of the JFK assassination, a burgeoning metropolis, and the birthplace of Sinisterhood. Dallas, Texas has made a name for itself in various ways throughout the years, but one radical street artist has been pushing a conspiracy that the city's founders aren't exactly what they seem. This week's episode is the Dallas Cephalopod Conspiracy.
A bomb in the night, your heart fills with dread. Probably a murderer who wants you dead. It could be a ghost, a demon, or worse. Perhaps you're the victim of a witch's curse. It's hopeless, you're doomed. You'd call a priest if you could. You'd rather just listen to who? Sinisterhood.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Sinisterhood. Normally you hear two voices, but you're only hearing mine today because our dear, sweet, beloved Christy is ill. She has either the flu or some ungodly combination of something in the air here in our fair city of Dallas, which you're about to hear about today. That, as my mother would say, fresh air will kill you. So it's either horrible allergies, the flu, or something much, much worse. But I am here to bring you one of my favorite topics, not just the city of Dallas, but specifically this really weird, twisted, bizarre conspiracy about how our city was founded. We travel the country. We're coming actually to see, we're coming to Boston, getting out of this hot hellhole. Don't tell me it's hotter in Boston on July 19th. We're coming up to New York on July 20th. We're going to be in DC on July 22nd. But for now, we're here in our home, sweet home, sweltering, swampy, million degrees Dallas. And today you're going to learn about how our city was created. Was it? I don't know. That's a great question. Was it really founded by cephalopods? After this episode, you be the judge. There's also been an update in the case, so be sure to check our show notes. We're going to link that. Pete Friedman has created a Twitter feed with some of the updates that happened in April of 2022. This originally aired as a mini-sode on Patreon in December of 2021, but it's one of our favorite weird conspiracies, and we thought more people need to know about this. But not only are you going to hear us talk about cephalopods, it's pre-Christy and Tommy's move. So you get to hear our discussion on maybe they're going to move, maybe we'll build a bunker. Our bunker plans are still ongoing. We also discuss one of my very favorite songs, the banger hit, based on our city. I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to let you listen. And I do want to have a quick call if you or anyone you know works for the city of Dallas, specifically the Office of Arts and Culture, and can get us access to these existing cephalopod statues, which stand as evidence that our city was invented by cephalopods. Please reach out to us, sinisterhoodpodcast@gmail.com, because we need to get into the Dallas Office of Arts and Culture and see these things straight up. We're also talking Dallas because on Freaky Friday this week, we have some stories for you all. We also have a guest on and just a little teaser for you, making an announcement about a performance we're going to be doing in Dallas. Not just any regular show, though. We're teaming up with some friends coming in from out of town. We're all very excited. So he will be on the show this Friday. So keep your ears peeled for a huge announcement. But it is Dallas based. And I will say, if you're not in this city and you haven't visited yet, you have to listen to this episode so you know our history, because I know once you hear what's going on in October, you're going to want to come up here. So without further ado, please enjoy the history of the city of Dallas, the Cephalopod Conspiracy.
We put Dallas on the map, Heather. I mean, yes, a president was assassinated in this great city of ours, but did anyone really know about Dallas till we came along?
They call it America's team, but I think we're America's team.
We
like, the
are
Cowboys
America's
are fine.
Team. We're the world's team.
That's right. The two of us together are America's team. I loved this research for this because I love Dallas and like reading about it. And it's becoming, I heard on NPR, Dallas, Austin, and Houston are about to be a biotechnology triangle. So, I mean, if we want to live forever, this is where to be.
You got Elon Musk all up in our shit.
Joe Rogan.
Huh?
Joe Rogan.
God, I forgot he's
live
here
forever.
now. I forgot about Joe. I mean, Austin's been a tech city forever. So, yeah, it's people like coming here because the property taxes compared to where they come from are very low. But here's the thing, you guys. Y'all are driving up our fucking property taxes because you keep moving here.
And I didn't realize that too. They were saying, the price of a house somewhere else, you get like an enormous house here. And a friend of mine, the house next door to them was for sale. And the people were just like, oh yeah, I'll pay that. Like whatever the asking price is, I had a friend from my old job that her house, they paid $50,000 cash over asking price.
You have to
they're
in
from
this
San
market.
Diego.
Yeah.
And like for them moving to Justin, Texas and getting like this big plot of land, like the 50 extra thousand was like, I said, I wish I could just write a check for 50,000. Like, I'll do it. I just want that house. But in Justin, I mean, I'm sure it's a lovely place, but it's kind of far.
They probably paid what, $500,000 for their house there, and that would have been like $2 million in San Diego. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it was probably like a $250,000-$300,000 house. Yeah, that they ended up. So I mean, yeah, it's I guess whatever value is, but that was a big list I think in November or October, November in the New York Times, like top 5 cities to move to, and 3 of them were like Plano, Garland, Mesquite. I mean,
Garland and Mesquite.
Hey, they're on the up and up.
Are they?
They're, oh yeah,
I don't hate Mesquite as much as y'all do, and by y'all I mean you and Leanne, who are from there. And maybe it's because I'm not from there, so I only go to like Target there.
I'm offended. I do not hate Mesquite. I love it. I'm allowed to talk shit about it because I'm from there.
Tommy doesn't mind Mesquite, but Tommy lived in Mesquite and Garland. Growing up, he got both worlds,
double dipped,
both worlds,
double dipping. No, I love Mesquite as a home of the championship rodeo, and I love my friends that live there. And my friend from high school just got reelected to the city council, which shout out for getting involved in your local politics.
Yeah.
Like saw that some not so great candidates were running and thought I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and then ended up winning. And so making it a safe place. There's like an LGBT and ally group that he created. They do
cool.
pride marches. They got NAACP groups involved that, making sure that everybody's voices is heard, not just the select few wealthier / older citizens that were like on the council for a million years. So Mesquite, is this making its way? It's making it. So I could see why it would make a top list of where to live.
I think because it's so adjacent to Dallas and way more affordable than Dallas makes it a same with Garland. Because the housing prices where we live are, I'm about to use a word that I hate, and it just popped into my head. They're redonkulous. I hate that word. It makes me cringe. But it was like the first word that came to my head.
It ain't wrong.
But the housing market is wild. Like,
yeah,
what our house we could sell for right now, more than double what we paid for in 2015. The thing is, though, you got to move somewhere.
Yeah.
And so all the houses, I mean, that, unless you can move into a rent-free or mortgage-free place, you're not really making any money.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's about to burst. We are wanting to move, still stay in East Dallas, but just to a different neighborhood, bigger house. So hopefully we hit it at the right time. But
find somewhere.
What you pay to live in Dallas, that same square footage and house in Forney, which is a suburb kind of out, I won't say the boonies. It's just like
further than Mesquite.
Yeah. I mean, you'd get triple the house out there for what you
mansion
here. Oh, a mansion, yeah. But
that's what out in the eastern suburbs, Saxe, Wiley, Murphy, all out there. There's some that just straight up used to be farmland. You can get gorgeous giant houses,
huge. I mean, you're living in one of those suburbs though. So if that's not the life you want to live, then people pay a lot of money to live, 10 minutes from downtown Dallas.
But you know what? Ray Kurzweil said, we don't even need to live in the middle of cities. You can live wherever you want because we're all connected virtually. You and I are on Skype right now. So
that's true.
We could, you need to move so I can know if I'm going to move or how close we're going to be.
No, you have to move on the same street.
That was the plan.
Whenever I look at houses, if there's another house like in the same neighborhood available, I'm like, okay, what do we need to do to get these houses? Or
putting our bids in.
I don't want to build a house because that Tommy was like, we will never, because I cannot make decisions. He was like, it would destroy the family if we had to build a house.
These cabinets are tearing us apart.
Oh my God. It would take years off my life. But that would be cool if we could like build houses next door to each other.
There you go.
And then we could run like a line with tin cans or have walkie-talkies.
I was going to say a tunnel underground, but
yes, a tunnel. That's even better. We could have
like
both.
Dale Gribble. He digs his tunnel out on King of the Hill.
Because we'll have bunkers, so we can have a tunnel that goes to both of our bunkers.
Attached bunkers.
That's smart.
That's what we got to do it.
So even during the apocalypse, we can still record and hang out.
We're never stopping the show. No, apocalypse or not.
It's forever.
We'll get CB radios if we have to, but it's still going to be out there.
You did just tell our financial advisor that you never wanted to retire. So
I did say that. He goes, what age? I go, never. And he goes, how about 70? I go, no, I'm gonna still be working. I'll still be writing. I'll probably still be doing comedy. And he's like, how about just like whenever work has to be optional? I said, you can put 75.
Okay. When I met with him, I said, I know Heather told you never. I'm probably going to have a different answer. But then I said, you know what? If I'm still doing what I'm doing now, I don't need to retire. I was like, and he goes, just when work could be optional. And I was like, okay, that's better because I like that it could be optional. But because my option would be do it whenever I want and it's fun and I feel like it.
Yeah. But God bless any professionals that have to work with us.
Right. Like, ugh.
He's like, what do you mean you want to be in a tube? But you said your mom's retiring?
Yeah. She,
congrats, Kathy.
I believe her last day is January 21st. So
standing ovation for Kathy.
Yes. It for real, really is. No, I actually watched, I think it was a documentary recently so now I've changed what I want to do for the afterlife.
What's that?
Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Yeah.
The documentary Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes.
Okay. So, that's, I figure that would be fun if like all four of us somehow Weekend at Bernie's ourselves and, could just kind of have fun.
Sunglasses
it's kind of a burden on others because they're going to have to like carry us around and stuff.
Will you? Yeah.
And then I started thinking this movie was made. Like this idea was greenlit. Someone said, forget about logistics and like how this would really work. We don't have to worry about embalming or decomp. We're just going to carry this dude around and have him
It'll
party.
Be hilarious.
And then there was a second one. So, I mean, did they keep him around for like years? I don't think I saw the second one.
Maybe we should do a watch. We got to watch Weekend at Bernie's too.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Skip the first one.
Skip the first one and just go to the second. I don't think I've seen the second one.
I have not. I don't know that I've fully seen the first one. We watched a YouTube breakdown. I can't remember what it, we watch a lot of like weird movies that got made or kind of like, not quite like the podcast, How Did This Get Made? But they do like background on, or like we just watched the whole thing on Tales from the Crypt, like how it got made. Then they made the movies and they had the primetime version. They had the kids game show version.
Of Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah.
Wait, it was a real game show or a show about a game show?
No, it was like a real game show, and the kids had to collect skulls, and they put these skulls on this like sticker, like a, what do you call it, like a spear type of thing, and like whoever had the most skulls impaled on a stick.
Ella would dominate.
Oh yeah,
that is Ella's dream.
It was like Legends of the Hidden Temple mixed with guts and with skulls. Yeah,
they have an adult Legends of the Hidden Temple now on Netflix.
We could. Why aren't we on that show?
For real.
What are our agents doing? They're not doing anything right now. If we're not on that.
I told them I want to be on a game show or a judge on a game show. I watched 5 minutes and had to bail. It was so cringy.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they weren't even in the temple. They were like outside. I don't know. It was weird.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, Ella the other day asked me, apropos of nothing, are we all going to be buried in the same gravestone?
Jesus Christ.
This is my life. I mean, I didn't even bat an eye because this is just life with Ella. Hashtag. And I go, I don't know. People don't usually do that. Like you usually, have your own, but some people do. And then like she dropped it. And then like a week later, she asked me again. And I said, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? And she goes, I think I want my own gravestone. And I go, okay, that's fair.
Deal. Someone reminded me that I had said in the Houston show that I wanted to be cremated and blown into people's faces. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's right. I already have my plans.
I have been doing a lot of self-exploration about death lately.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm coming around on some things, mainly because I've learned that certain things give me far less anxiety about it than others. So, but then I start running into this imposter syndrome. Like, am I just wanting to believe this because it's easier, or do I really believe this? So, I don't know. Doing some self-exploration on death.
Yeah, same. I got a new Zen book by Bernie Glassman, who is Jeff Bridges' Zen master. He passed away in 2018. But his book, I'm reading Inner Circles right now, and it talks about like what we were talking about of like you're a log, but then you get burned, so you become ash and smoke, and you return back to, you know, like a ocean, a wave, and the ocean doesn't stop being a wave. If it crashes on the shore, it goes back into the ocean. So it all kind of goes back together.
Yeah,
so.
My whole thing is like consciousness and personality and self-awareness and stuff, which to me,
that is addressed.
Waves and stuff don't have. So I don't know. I think
it does, though.
Huh?
We're all one.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I don't say whatever to your beliefs.
No, I'm not saying whatever to that. I'm just saying whatever in my own mind of like, I can't start thinking about it too much or I'll start to spin out.
Well, you know what I like to think about, and I'm not spinning out because I love this. As my future is also Roboctopus. Burn my body and put my consciousness into a cephalopod. I've already decided.
Well, you are from the right city.
Yeah.
So
created by cephalopods.
Apparently, I am so bummed I never saw these.
I know what we're talking about today are these sculptures that appeared in Dallas. If anybody has an inside track to the City of Dallas Arts group,
Scene?
Whatever it's called. Well, I mean, it's like the city municipal art department.
Oh, that's right, where they are right now. Yeah,
they're in storage. So if you could get us a tour, I mean, come on, please.
Some sneaky pics.
They're still exist in existence. I bet if we called up Pete Friedman, he'd let us see his sculpture. He'd probably talk to us, probably do an interview.
I know somebody who writes for Central Track. We might be able to get in there.
Yeah, we hang out. I'm a big Pete Friedman fan after reading all his coverage on this.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I like that someone was just like, why not? I'm just going to put these art installments around the town, and somehow managed. That's hard to get a life-size statue erected with no one noticing.
Or just, you got to get in, get out, and speed away.
I mean, even like transporting that. I don't know what you use. A U-Haul? A big truck?
Probably. Maybe a dolly. Yeah.
A dolly. Just wheel it down. 75 till you get to where you're going. Yeah. That's
sidecar.
What's that?
I said a motorcycle sidecar.
Oh, yeah. That's why that guy had it that day. So he could take around the cephalopod statues. Yeah. This is going on, or went on, just 10 minutes from where we live. So
yeah, I know, only just a month ago. So it's all still recent.
That's why, gosh, I can't. Well, no wonder we didn't see it. I picked you up that day. Because
I picked you up that day, and I said,
where did we go?
The cephalopod's out, and you go, because you were at the dentist, and you said, let's go see it. And I'm like, no, they just tweeted it. It was out for like 3 hours. They took it down within like 3 hours.
Sinisterhood will be right back. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I actually learned something about myself in my friendship with Christy. Before I met Christy, I thought, I'm totally fine. I don't need to do anything to self-improve. I can just grind, keep my head down, and I'm fine. But then I said, hey, I'm struggling with some things. And my dear, darling best friend said, have you ever considered therapy? I totally have not, because I was so caught up in taking care of everybody else and achieving and doing my day-to-day life that I didn't even know it was something I was interested in. It's so easy to get caught up in what everybody else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. And that's exactly what I was doing. But therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or even why we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. And that's been my experience with BetterHelp so far. I got an initial therapist and we hit it off. She actually switched careers. So that was fine. At first I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to find a new therapist? But that's the magic of BetterHelp. I got on. I was able to sort through therapists, see what they covered, where they were located, how much experience they had, and maybe some of the
areas that they were experts in that I was interested in, and I was able to be matched with a new therapist. So it all worked out in the end, and I'm very glad that I had a friend who encouraged me to try, and a really easy way to try it. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries, and it also empowers you to be the best version of yourself. Despite what I thought, it isn't just for those who've experienced major traumas. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is a great option because it's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/sinister today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/sinister.
Well, we got to get into the Cephalopod conspiracy then. I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. D-Town, Pegasus City, the Big D, the shining star of the Southwest, an oasis on the banks of the Trinity River. The Dallas Metroplex is home to 7.5 million people, DFW Airport, one of the largest and busiest airports in the world, and one of the largest LGBT communities in the U.S. Home of America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has served as inspiration for movies like Office Space, TV shows like Dallas, and the immortal Trey Lewis song,
Dick Down in Dallas. That's our new favorite song.
This saved 2021. The birth of my son saved 2021. Next in line, you discovering this song.
I am offended. This song went viral on TikTok in December of 2020, and nobody, one person who knows me personally and intimately, nor nobody that even just knows me from the show or from social media or a friend of a friend. This is so my type of shit. It's a country song called Dick Down in Dallas. It's serious, but it's funny, but it's
good.
Well done. Yeah,
it's
quite
really
well
good
done and catchy. But I did not know about this until I was researching this, and I told you I wanted to get inspired. So I typed in Dallas into Spotify, and this came on, and I sent it to you, and then we got so obsessed with it, and we made everyone listen to it at New Year's Eve.
We did, and any remix we could find.
Yes,
but it's if you know Trey Lewis, please tell. If you are Trey Lewis,
call in.
We'll get a phone we don't know how that works. We'll figure it out. We are obsessed with this song. It's a legit banger. And I was laughing so loud and scream singing it that Tommy had to come in and be like, "Can you stop? I'm on the phone." Like he was he was on the phone with the vet. And it's so good.
You're like, "No, I can't stop."
It's no, I won't stop. No. So
he
good.
says, popping that cooter like a cap gun. And it gets me I can't stop thinking about how good it is. All day today, I was singing that song in anticipation of recording. I have written an essay exploring why I think it's such an epic song, and I will publish it post tense in the newsletter.
You need to send it to Trey directly.
Okay, well,
I'm sure he has an age. I'm sure you can find his contact info.
I could probably just DM it to him on TikTok or something, or send him on Instagram. So everybody, we'll post it, and then we'll have you tag Trey Lewis so he sees our dedication to him, because the song it's wild.
It's so good.
It's wild.
Home to the Caddo people who inhabited the Dallas area for thousands of years, Spanish colonists set up shop in what would become North Texas in the 18th century. They planted one of the 6 flags that would eventually fly over our fine city: France, Spain, Mexico, the Republic of Texas, the Confederate flag, and now the United States flag. The frequent change of our state's leadership even gave name to the amusement park chain Six Flags Over Texas, which opened in the DFW suburb of Arlington in 1961. I went to Six Flags so much as a child.
Oh, for sure. All the time.
I had a season pass.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the 80s. And my best friend at the time, Elizabeth, also had a season pass. Our parents would just drop us off at Six Flags. And
at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that was when Six Flags was connected to Wet n Wild, which is a water park. Now it's called Hurricane Harbor. And it's no longer connected. But you could just go through a turnstile to get from Six Flags into Wet n Wild. So you had a season pass for both. Can you imagine dropping your 10-year-old off at an amusement/water park for just 8 hours.
It's loose. It was loose back then.
It was a different time. It was
wild. Yeah, no,
totally wild.
Many fond memories of Six Flags.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean, there's some updates, but there are parts that I'm like, oh, this isn't moved since 1995 when I was here as a kid.
I think the last time I went was in college. It would have been, I was a senior at UNT, so 2001 or something like that. And I hadn't been in so long, and I went on the Batman ride, which I think was new around that time, and I got so motion sick, and that was when I realized I can no longer do roller coasters.
That sucks, because the Batman's one of my favorite ones. Your feet dangle,
yes,
and it's like
yes.
purple and yellow. Yeah, it's a good one. We went Christmas of 2019 with Paris' sister and niece, and they're like big Six Flags, like season pass holders, and we got to go on some cool, I mean, she's like, I want to go on the one that's like the Joker rides, like a crazy roller coaster that also flips you upside down in a little pod. And I was like, let's do it. I love roller coasters. So
was it fun?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would make you vomit probably. But
yeah. I don't know what happened. When I was a kid, I had no problem with them. And then maybe I didn't train hard enough. You know, like if you're a runner and then you
power
stop.
through.
And then when I tried to go back as a 22-year-old, my body was like, no, you can't do this anymore. No. I would also, even when I liked roller coasters, the Shockwave was the first roller coaster I did that had loops. And I remember like passing out from the whatever it is.
The forces on your brain.
Yeah. But I would still do it. Like,
oh yeah.
There's so many TikToks. I saw one yesterday of somebody on a roller coaster and they pass out and it's just, you look wild.
Yeah, your head's just bobbing back and forth. I pass out on the Titan every time because it goes like a corkscrew, like down. And that one just, I don't know what it does to my brain, but
I don't know.
Sign me up.
Some centrifugal force. I don't even know what that is, but it sounded smart.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is that what it is? Yeah.
So.
Man, Tommy the other day was like, we should take Ella to Six Flags. And I was like, not now. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe later.
maybe in like
a couple months.
I don't know, like 2025 or something like that. We can take
maybe
her.
Later.
The founding of the city of Dallas is often attributed to farmer, lawyer, and tradesman John Neely Bryan, a Tennessee native whose cabin has been replicated and preserved in downtown Dallas's Founders Plaza. A man of many skills, or possibly just the only one around willing to do the jobs, Bryan was the city's first postmaster, a store owner, operator of a ferry across the Trinity River, and host of the city's first courthouse in his home.
Russ Martin, the DJ, used to call him John Steely Dan, and so I always think of that.
That's a good one. By age 66, Bryan's family had brought him before a judge at a, quote, lunacy hearing. There, Bryan's son told the judge,
his lucid intervals are very short, indeed only a few moments at a time. He talks foolishly and sometimes becomes very furious and wants to fight. He sometimes tries to burn up his bedclothes and tries to get away, says this is not his home, tries to get through the walls of the house.
According to transcripts printed by the Dallas Morning News, Bryan was declared incompetent and committed to the Texas State Lunatic Asylum in Austin, where he died just 7 months later on September 8th, 1877.
And this sounds just like kind of run-of-the-mill dementia, possibly, that they just didn't know how to treat in 1877. So just locked him up back then.
That's so sad that people spent their last months in their worst mental state they were going through, just like in that environment, exacerbated it even more.
Oh, yeah, not a lot of therapeutic treatment. And also, there's a grave there that they think is his, but they're not sure if it's his. So that's one of the other mysteries of he died at the asylum, but and there's a headstone, but there's some controversy of whether he's there or not.
Yeah. Did they really take a lot of care? And I mean,
no,
even if
that
you
place
were
got shut down.
Yeah, even if you were the founder of Dallas, I don't know if you were given the dignified burial that you deserved. Despite his declining final years, Bryan's legacy is the bustling community he helped establish on the banks of the Trinity River and the city Bryan chose to call Dallas. He told pioneer Frank M. Cockrell,
"The town was named for my friend Dallas,"
according to the city's website. However, when it comes to nailing down exactly which friend Dallas, that remains a mystery. City archivist John H. Slate told the Dallas Morning News,
"Bottom line is, no one really knows. There's quite a bit of speculation, but none of it is borne out in any actual provable facts. This is probably one of the biggest conundrums in the city. No one really knows why it's called Dallas.
You know, I did not know that until this.
Same. I assumed it was named after a person. And there's like 5 or 6 candidates that they think it could. It was like a vice president, a general. There's multiple different ones. But then for each option, there's a reason why John Neely Bryan didn't know that person or he didn't know him at the time that it was named or something like that. So they really can't nail it down.
Maybe it was a cephalopod
Now
friend
know.
That he named Dallas. Or that the cephalopod told him my name is Dallas. I don't think he gave him the name.
No.
I think he was told what the name was.
Yeah, I don't think you can tell cephalopods anything.
No,
they tell you.
They tell you. 8 times. This is not the only mystery surrounding the Big D. In 2019, 178 years after Dallas was established, a peculiar statue appeared in our fair city. According to the statue's plaque, history left one attribute off the list of labels for our city's founder: cephalopod. On October 28, 2019, alternative online magazine Central Track reported on a strange occurrence: the statue of a creature, all silver, with a man's body wearing a suit, and the head of a cephalopod had appeared beneath the Kay Bailey Hutchins Convention Center in downtown Dallas. According to Central Track, the first resident to spot the creation was a local attorney, John Bradley.
It was my birthday.
That's true. Oh.
I'm a cephalopod. That's why I'm scared of him. I'm scared of my true nature.
You're scared of yourself. I think you need to do some digging, some soul searching. A legitimate-looking silver plaque was posted at the creature's feet. The plaque gave artistic attribution to
Solomon
and was titled
Self-Portrait of John Neely Bryan, Hypothetical, 1877, Steel and Beaks.
A full description, riddled with typos, followed, which read,
Confined in his last days to an insane asylum in Austin, no one knows what final confusions the founding father of Dallas confronted before his death. Did the lines between selfhood and otherhood blur completely? Did flesh confate with metal, the eternal with the temporal, the mammal with the cephalopod? Is the city he began a city, in fact, or only a shared delusion?
Beneath the description, the plaque claimed that the sculpture was a gift to the city from Margaret McDermott and bore the logo of the city of Dallas.
It does look like a legit plaque.
Yeah.
I mean, it's professionally made.
Which is why it's odd that there are typos, because you would assume unless they're intentional, that someone would proofread that, and I'm assuming it meant did flesh conflate with metal. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So 2 L's are missing.
Yes, which does come into a possible theory about all of these. And I believe Dallas wasn't it D''LLAS? I think there was a typo in that as well.
Yeah, there's typos all over. So
which would again maybe point to the 2 L's, like try and highlight the 2 L's.
Why?
The installation didn't stay up for long. Just 3 days after Central Track reported on its existence, the cephalopodian creature was removed. It was taken into storage by the City of Dallas's Office of Arts and Culture, according to WFAA News.
Yes, if you or someone you love works at City of Dallas Office of Arts and Culture, call us. We want to see the sculptures.
We got to see these things.
And like Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, there was a whole thing in D Magazine recently about how they just want to like explode it and rebuild something because it needs so much work. But the place where it was at, it's not technically underground, but it is covered, so it's kind of dark and shadowy down there. So it makes sense that, I mean, if you're just if you hopped off a train and you were just getting off the train and walking to work, you might not even notice it because it wasn't really out in the middle of anything. So that's how it lasted for 3 days.
But I don't understand why it was taken down.
Unauthorized, I guess.
Fear? What's going on here?
What are they covering up?
I guess you have to have a permit to install like an art.
Yeah, probably.
Something.
Yeah, well, I don't think they just let you do it.
Or you put it in that in downtown Dallas where it's the free speech square on the corner.
Yes.
You just go and put it there. Then I dare you to take it down.
Then you're infringing on our constitutional right to put up cephalopod sculptures.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
game-changing. That's what Kitsch's biggest fans say about its time-saving beauty essentials for hair, skin, and body. Are you ready to change your beauty game? Because we sure were. Christy and I both use and love Kitsch. I actually used it before they were even a sponsor on the show because I wanted a way to air dry my hair, and they had these really sweet terry cloth hair scrunchies. So I just found it on my own, and then when Kitsch wanted to partner up, we said, hell yeah, we already love you. Kitsch was started in 2010 by selling hair ties door to door. Literally just a hustle and a dream. Kitsch is self-funded, female-founded, and now carried in over 20,000 retail locations. Their bestsellers include things like their satin pillowcases. We each sleep on one of these every night. Also their caps and eye masks, because Kitsch's satin is vegan and cruelty-free, and it's so great for your hair and your skin while you sleep. You just wake up not the rough cotton up on your cheeks. And Kitsch also has rice water shampoo bars that could help with overall hair growth and density, as well as their rosemary scalp oil that helps support scalp health and hair strength from root to tip, and so much more. The real game changer, if we're talking about game changers, they're heatless satin curling rollers. Say bye-bye to heat damage. These are the original, the OG, and still the best heatless curlers. Don't settle for knockoffs. Get the ones that started the craze. We both have these. My hair is shorter now, so it works way better. But when it was long, shoulder length, Christy's also used them. And I distinctly remember, we always tell the story. I came to pick her up. So she came out to my car. We were going to the airport. It was like 9 a.m. And she looked like she walked out of a salon with a blowout. I said, who did your hair? And she said, I slept in the Kitsch satin curlers. And that's it. And the blowout look lasted like 2-3 days. So that is how great they are. So get you them satin curlers. I love them. And I also love the terry cloth towel, so I can air dry and maybe get a little beach wave going on. Right now, Kitsch is offering you 30% off your entire order at mykitsch.com/sinister. That's right. 30% off anything and everything at MyKitsch, spelled MYKITSCH.com/sinister. One more time, mykitsch.com/sinister for 30% off of your order.
Central Track's founder, journalist Pete Friedman, was particularly interested in the statue's existence. He covered its discovery and removal with thoroughness and genuine curiosity, built out of his love for the city of Dallas and all things quirky. He reported that after publishing his coverage of the incident, he received a call from a male voice asking to confirm his office's mailing address.
And he said he gets that a lot because it's usually like advertisers or something, so it's not like he doesn't go like, why do you want our address?
Right. No, people email us all the time or DM us and they're like, what's y'all's P.O. box? I want to send you something. Mm-hmm. So we don't think anything about it. Sinisterhood.com/contact. There you go. A few days later, Friedman received what he described as
a 10-inch ceramic humanoid statue boasting a large head with intricate features, carefully shaped hands and limbs, and metallic feet.
Included with the figurine was a plaque reading,
"The Solomon Award for Journalistic Exceptionalism, presented to Pete Friedman. Dallas is only tangible so long as it is described that way. The illusion, our most worthy foe, resents your efforts against it. I, however, do not."
2 crumpled sheets of paper included poetry from T.S. Eliot and Edna St. Vincent Millay.
It was also packed in a box with shredded documents that had handwriting on them.
Ooh.
And Pete was going to have the interns go through, and he was like, I felt bad about asking them, but like, hey, can you put these shredded papers back together? But he left it overnight, and when he came back, the janitor threw it out. So it just so happened, he's like, I should have just marked it. But he goes, honestly, I don't blame them. It looked like a box of garbage.
Yeah.
But lost forever.
Also, could have been inside. One of those interns may have gone up there and gotten wind that they were about to have to do that and tossed it. But that would be kind of fun as an intern. Yeah. I don't know. It would be fun for like maybe a few hours. And then you're like, oh my God. When you start to realize like this is just shredded
gibberish.
Yeah, this is just like the
nonsense.
What is our newspaper called?
Dallas Morning News?
Dallas Morning News. My God. Oh, it's been a long couple weeks. Yikes. Friedman was dogged by curiosity. Who was Solomon? He looked into the attorney who first spotted the statue, but ruled him out. A busy attorney with a family would have no time to craft and place a full-scale statue. Then Friedman received a tip that someone possibly knew the statue's true creator. When pressed for an identification, the source told Friedman,
maybe it's good for our sweet city to have its own myths.
I feel like I know a very busy attorney that has a lot going on and would still have time to craft and place a full-scale statue if they wanted to.
You're talking about Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
Yes, I am.
The Lawhawk. The Lawhawk is the new Jim Adler.
Who's the Lawhawk?
Oh, he's
Michael
like
Uvalli?
No, that's the law boss. I can't think of Lawhawk's real name, but Lawhawk is like a Fort Worth attorney, and he does these wild commercials. Like one of them, he jumps a jet ski off of a ramp.
Oh, yes,
and he's like,
fun.
"Oh, the Lawhawk!"
Yeah, he's young. Yeah,
he's a baby.
He's fun.
So maybe I say that he runs his own business and he jumps jet skis. Who am I to call anyone a baby?
Right? No, but I mean, he's probably in his like early to mid 30s.
He's hustling though. Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if he runs a very busy, practice, this gentleman, John Bradley, runs a busy practice. And I think it was just that he happened to be walking to work and noticed it and tweeted a picture. Then he later on deleted that tweet and I think didn't want to be associated with it because he wasn't a part of it.
Someone made him delete it.
The cephalopods. They have so many arms. They can hit delete.
That's right. Yeah, they can do all social media at once. Social medias we don't even know about.
This is why I want to become one. I can answer all the messages,
That's
all
true.
the things at the same
you can
time.
do Twitter, Instagram, all of them.
TikTok, Pinterest.
Facebook,
I could add
everything all at one time. God, how efficient a cephalopod must be.
So
if you
efficient.
hired a cephalopod as your receptionist,
Done and done.
I mean,
Typing, answering phones, shredding, making a snack, making coffee, all the things all at
everything
once. It's magical.
anybody needed. Yeah, that's man.
And can predict soccer matches.
Yes, yeah, and would never like accidentally lock themselves out of the office.
No, they
could
just go under the door.
Or they're so smart they just figure out they can pick locks.
They can.
They can open jars that they're in. Take the lids off tanks.
I can never open a jar, so I need that in my life.
I will admit that a cephalopod is smarter than myself.
Oh, they have more brain neurons or whatever. I mean, they're so smart.
Mm-hmm. I still have not watched that Netflix documentary.
It's like My Friend something.
Yeah, whatever he names the. I think it's the name of.
I watched the
Flicka.
YouTube documentary where the guy gets a lobster from the grocery store and names it Lionel, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, I think Tommy, was it you or Tommy that was?
I was telling
me
y'all
about
about it and I think it was on New Year's when we were talking about Dig Down in Dallas.
That's right.
Talking about my lobster.
That's right. I've heard that the Octopus Netflix show is wonderful and very touching and a tearjerker.
Well, we need to learn more about our city's history, so
And our future. It seems Solomon had more to say. On December 13th, 2021, at 10:30 a.m., 777 days after the first statue appeared, a second one was found anchored at Pioneer Park in downtown Dallas, where a Confederate war memorial had been removed in June of 2020. This new creation depicted Sarah Horton Cockrel in all white with a floor-length dress and the head of a cephalopod. One of the first millionaires in Texas, Cockrell owned and managed 3 hotels, a flour mill, and large amounts of real estate throughout the city, all in the wake of her husband's death. She was also responsible for the first suspension bridge to stretch across eternity. Was she able to accomplish so much in a time unfriendly to female entrepreneurs because she was something more than human? Maybe, but photos of Cockrell from the 1840s show her with an average human head.
Or were they doctored?
Or did they somehow know Photoshop? Did a time traveler from 2022 go back to the 1840s and Photoshop, use Adobe Acrobat and Photoshop all of those, a real person's head onto her cephalopod head?
They had to.
She was a hustler, and that was not easy for women.
Mm-hmm. And they owned at some point like 25% of all the land that's now Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear Cockrell Hill. That's a name that you hear in like streets and neighborhoods.
A golden crown that jutted in 7 directions sat on the sculpture's head. In one of its outstretched hands laid a silver dollar. Beneath its feet was a pile of bones. The plaque placed just in front of the installation attributed this statue to Solomon as well. The title was
Portrait of Sarah Horton Cockrell, 2024. Damp, urban, silver.
Words engraved on the plaque said this statue was a gift to the city by oil magnate T. Boone Pickens. Well known for his philanthropy in the DFW area, it was unlikely Pickens was the one who placed the statue, as he passed away over 2 years prior on September 11th, 2019.
And that name is, the T. Boone Pickens is a big YMCA center. I mean, donated to every possible, charity, something around Dallas. So that's an easy name. Same with Margaret McDermott. I think she's the Margaret Hey, that's Margaret Hunt Hill.
Margaret Hunt is the bridge, yeah.
Yeah, but the same.
Hunt Oil. There's like 5 families that just ruled Dallas back in the day, and their money still lives on, and some of their ancestors still live on too.
They're still around running stuff. So those are easy names I think to pick and go, oh, this is, or they're all in on it. They're all cephalopods.
Illuminati. Cephalopodinati. That's fun to say. The description on the plaque read,
if Sarah Horton Cockrel did encounter Dallas's true namesake on her 33rd birthday, how did she walk away with her selfhood intact? Why her? Why that night at that crossing of that particular bend of the Trinity? The facts paint little in the way of an answer. Afterwards, she declined to sleep, wandering the darkened city she largely owned, inventing new ways to profit from thresholds. Was her wealth then hers by fate or by compulsion? Maybe our city's love-hate relationship with tolls was born that night, rippling out beyond the levees of her destiny. Her Trinity toll bridge still calling in Sarah's debts on another plane, a taller, more enduring memorial than any of our city's other daughters have built. If so, well, hail Sarah, daughter of unnameable monarch, hand commanding the purse of eternity.
Wow.
It's poetic as fuck.
The one thing I don't understand, it kind of just starts in the middle.
Yeah.
And I tried to research, like, what do they mean on her 33rd birthday? Was she just walking around the Trinity River? There's really no explanation as to what
be made up.
That is talking about. Like, did she have a experience, a spiritual awakening? I couldn't find anything that explained that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Sarah Horton Cockrel historian, although I wonder if, like, the archivist for the city would know that there was, like, some newspaper article back then that said she was walking around or something.
When she decided on some toll, I don't know if they had tolls back then, but something
that's how she paid for the bridge, I think.
Oh, so even back then interesting.
So they said it started our love-hate relationship with tolls.
I don't know about well, I guess it is a love-hate relationship because you go faster.
Oh yeah,
but you got to pay.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, if I'm driving on the tollway and there's a wreck, I'm like, I didn't pay 50 cents to get on a highway and sit still.
Yeah, yeah. And I also get real irked when I go somewhere and then, like, a month later I get a bill and I'm like, I didn't even know I was on a toll. I was just driving.
What the hell?
And I got charged.
Or if I spend like 50 cents and then it re-ups my toll tag and then they charge me $40, I'm like, I know I can change it, but can I? I have to remember the password. That's the email address from 2011. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to log in.
They just auto get you.
Yes, they just auto take my money.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
This plaque also included 3 strange symbols. WFA reported that the symbols were part of a medieval number system used by Cistercian monks. When reporters translated the numbers, they revealed a Google Voice phone number. Journalist Steve Monticelli called the number. Though no one answered, Stephen recorded and tweeted what he heard. An unintelligible cacophony of voices, bells, and chimes, all playing at once.
Google Voice will try to connect you.
It is kind of eerie. You can listen to the tweet. He just recorded himself calling in, and it's like just almost like a found footage sounding thing.
I appreciate the what's the word I'm looking for? The earnestness in which this person committed to this bit. Like they were like, we're doing an art installation. It was like a hat
Layers.
on a hat on a hat. They were like, I love puzzles, which on our next episode, I'm going to be telling everyone what Heather got me for my birthday, and I'm going to post the pictures on Patreon. So that'll be a little Patreon bonus. But I love puzzles and all of that stuff, so I appreciate that they were like, these strange symbols don't just like, they're not just decoration, they mean something. And then we're going to go the extra step to like have a weird thing be there when you call. That's fun for people.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I love it because reporters saw the picture of the plaque and had just, it's crowdsourcing. They posted and said, does anybody know what these numbers are? And someone's like, oh, that's the Cistercian monk system. Mm-hmm. It's 972, blah, blah, blah. And then someone else was like, I called it. And so it was a lot of, it brought people together.
Web sleuthing, yeah.
Yeah, it brought everybody together.
Just as soon as WFAA reported on the statue's existence, it was removed. When asked by reporter and Dallas Cephalopod statue expert Pete Friedman whether they had a lead on identifying the statue's creators, the security guards around Pioneer Park stated that while security camera footage showed 4 people placing the piece, the camera's angle was partially blocked, so no identification could be made.
Convenient.
Sounds like, well, I guess they put it in the same spot that the Confederate statue had been.
Yeah.
So it was an intentional spot.
It was like a little empty.
Yeah, you can't say like, well, they knew that the camera wouldn't be pointed there because they were putting it in that spot, but perhaps somebody was able to move the camera, or it might have just been where it worked out that way for them. Mm-hmm. Online sleuths have tried to determine the meaning of the statue and have developed several interesting theories. One Redditor put forward the theory that the statue installations may be related to the series The OA on Netflix. The OA was a science fiction supernatural show that aired on the streaming service until it was canceled on March 22nd, 2019. I saw the first season of this, and I don't understand the connection this person is making.
Someone was like, it so clearly references the OA, and like 5 or 6 people were like, yeah, and then someone was like, well, it got canceled, why would they still do it? And so I think that was a flimsy graphic. Yeah. They were like, when the first one came out, they were like, oh, maybe this is, because there was like a lot of fans wanted it to come back, and they were like writing letters and trying to, like back in the day, people would like send presents to a network to have something come back. So like maybe this is like a street team way to get more attention on the show, but I think it's probably
I did not see
related.
The second season, so maybe that is all related to the second season. But the first season, I have no idea what they're talking about, unless I just am not remembering it.
It wiped your brain.
Other users put together all the missing letters from the misspelled words and came up with several hypotheses on what they could mean. They almost spelled out
Illith,
a creature from Dungeons and Dragons, also known as a mind flayer, that has a humanoid body and an octopus head. Someone else asked if the 2024 date meant a time traveler tore through the space-time continuum to place the statue in our time.
Well, that's clearly the most likely scenario.
I mean, obviously, I think that's... And I like that they didn't really... If I'm going to time travel, I'm going to make it worth it. Yeah. I'm not just going like a few years back.
You got John Connor. You're like killing something, stopping a revolution, doing something.
Yeah. Maybe
the machines from taking over.
Who knows? Maybe in 2 years, we'll all be like, oh, this was it. This was a John Connor moment, and we just were too ignorant to realize it.
If you're listening on December 13th, 2024, we owe you an apology. We're probably recording from our bunker, so please send our neighbor
connected bunkers with our tunnel underground.
Mega bunker.
Others made reference to Cthulhu, a fictional cosmic entity created by author H.P. Lovecraft. Another user attributed the creations to a religious group that started in Dallas, writing,
sounds like something the Church of the Subgenius would do.
Meanwhile, others thought the statues may be part of an ARG, alternate reality game. ARGs combine digital and real-life elements for an immersive game experience.
If this was the Subgenii, we probably would have put Bob or Slack or the Conspiracy. There would be more overt references.
Yeah, it would have been like Bob's head, or a cephalohead Bob.
Yeah.
Cephalobob. Bob's head with like, tentacles and stuff coming out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like how you are identifying as one now. We
would have, I would have been consulted too, I think.
When Central Track reached out to Dr. Sarah McNulty, who holds a PhD in squid biology, for comment, she concluded,
I think there's pretty much no way that John Neely Bryan was an octopus, even though I typically would entertain this sort of nonsense. It's strictly because he lived so long.
The average lifespan of an octopus or a squid is only a handful of years, with Dr. McNulty telling Central Track,
They live fast and die hard, but certainly an octopus would be clever enough to found a city, I would imagine.
The good doctor's final conclusion,
The founder of Dallas was probably not a cephalopod.
I had no idea they didn't live that long.
Probably. Well, what if she didn't address whether if you're half cephalopod, half man, then
That's
maybe
true.
you, like if you say, okay, a human can now live to be 90 or 100 years old and a cephalopod can only live to be 5 years old, you split the difference.
Or if you're a octopus, then I think you live forever.
Yeah, that's the true answer.
You look like a cephalopod, but you really are an AI.
Yeah. This is why Central Track and Pete Friedman are amazing, because they actually called a squid biology expert, and also Dr. McNulty, shout out, because she was like, I would love to answer questions. Yes, absolutely.
That's a fun doctor.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Mm-hmm. According to researchers at the University of Chicago, octopi have 168 protocatarans versus just 60 found in humans, meaning the cephalopods have 3 times the neural wiring capacity of humans. At that brain capacity, could an ancient human-octopus hybrid have created our fair city, finding a way to hide its true form until it unraveled in its final days? Was it accompanied by other human cephalopod hybrids who developed the community and whose true histories have been lost to time? Does the mystery surrounding the city's true namesake factor into the ongoing conspiracy? It all remains to be seen. For now, both the creator of the statues and their purpose remain a mystery.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
So what do we think?
This answers a lot of questions. If there's...
Namely, who killed JFK?
Yeah, and if there are all these chug holes in the town, they're because the cephalopods, when they hit down on the ground when they're walking, if you're a giant cephalopod, you're busting holes in the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
And there's probably some type of ocean underneath where the cephalopods go, and so that causes the soil to be all rocky, and that's why our foundations crumble in Dallas. That's the thing people don't understand. You can buy a house in Texas, Godspeed.
Yeah.
Shit will fall through the earth.
You'll get cracks within a year.
You're like, my house is cracking in
You're
half
like, why
an
didn't
egg.
this door shut anymore? Like, that's what happened. That's
Welcome
our
to
front door. I'm like,
sweet-
why is this fucking door so hard to close? Oh, because it rained and our house has shifted significantly.
Exactly. The ground is literally just washing away under your feet. So that's probably why, because there's a whole cephalopodian home underneath us.
Dang, we figured it out. I'm gonna go that this is a fun street art installation team that is trying to make some kind of social commentary, but I don't know what it is.
It's a little bit more esoteric than I can grasp. But
Yeah.
I wish, because I think Dallas is now, especially since probably the last 10 years is when I moved back in 2011, I feel like it's now getting its, there's a more of an art scene. There's more of a, cultural scene.
It's coming back. Because in the early 2000s, Deep Ellum was hot and hip, and then it kind of went away for a long time, and it was, but now it's coming back. In the past few years, it's coming back again. So it's definitely on an upswing art wise than it has been in the past decade.
A lot more investment in arts and stuff. So I wish that the city would find a way to put these out. I get that if they don't understand the origin, they don't know what anything means. And if the secret esoteric clues we're not putting together or something offensive or discriminatory, you don't want to just put a piece of art out without knowing the backstory. That being said, give me a tour. I want to see it. Let me see the cephalopod.
Or, come on, DMA. Stop being, you cowards. Do an exhibit of these things.
And I bet you on loan from Pete Friedman, he'd probably put the little sculpture in there too. He'd probably let him put it on display with the little plaque.
I bet if word got out the DMA was going to do an exhibit, I think Solomon would he's like our Banksy. He's like the Dallas Banksy.
I love it. Yeah, the DMA is doing some cool stuff right now. They have a whole thing on Chicano art and lowrider culture, and
very cool.
It's kind of immersive. You walk in with big tall wall art is what they've called it. So yeah, So it's really cool. So I think the DMA is doing some, not just like this painting is from England and whatever, they're doing more contemporary, meaningful to the folks that actually live here kind of stuff. And so I think this is part of it. It's a weird thing we're not like Austin weird, but I think we're weird in our own dorky, clunky way. Yeah. And that's what this is.
Do you remember, I don't know if you lived here when this happened, the giant robot statues that are in Deep Ellum? So if you're not from here, we also have these gigantic robot statues. There's several of them. They are made out of like this very shiny silver. They're huge. They dress them up I don't know who they is, the Cephalopodians. Like over Christmas, I think one had a hat on. Somebody put a big mask on one. They had like a big Mavs jersey on. But years ago, all of a sudden, it was like when it was really cold. I think it was when we had that snowstorm out of nowhere. It would have been 2012 or so. They appeared and someone had knitted them giant scarves and hats and maybe mittens. I know there was a giant scarf and it was all over the paper and everything. And then I found out I knew the girl that did it. She kept it a secret. She was a DCA. She was an improviser.
That's hilarious.
She had knitted them and they had like gone out in the night and like secretly put them on. I don't know if I found out, so I guess it came out. She's an exceptional puppeteer and she does a lot of puppeteer work for like famous institutions and everything. She's great. But so I think it's stuff like that, like people that just want to do it for like the city. They don't necessarily need the recognition. It's just fun. It's a fun thing for people to talk about. And then it, unfortunately it goes away because what we don't understand, we try and kill.
Let's try wet blankets, putting it in storage. I think it should be on display somewhere. Put it in City Hall behind glass. It just says anonymous sculpture. I don't think you're putting it out is not necessarily endorsing its message. I think it is like it exists. We can't say it doesn't exist. You can try to hide it, but we're bringing it to the forefront. I told you, I was like, mainstream media doesn't want to cover this. They're trying to cover it up.
Well, that's why you got Central Track. Yeah,
that's right. Pete Friedman and Central Track coming through, and it was very sweet the way that they covered it, and it was very sincere. And I mean, it's very tongue in cheek, obviously, but it is that. Why is no one talking about? He was like, why is nobody talking about this? And so then
I wish I could have seen him.
Yeah, well. Someday.
They got those down fast, a little too fast, if you ask me.
Interesting.
I hope that since that was December, maybe in another 777 days, I hope we don't have to wait that long, but maybe another one will come out. I assume they take a while to make. So maybe one's in production right now.
Yeah, or 333 days or something like that. 69, 420 days.
Well, if you are the sculpturist behind these, just know that you got two people that are on your side.
I'm a big fan of Solomon, and if you know who Solomon is, if you tell us, we won't rat to anybody.
No. And if Solomon wants to make a Cephalopodian Heather and a Cephalopodian Christy to put out, you have our blessing.
We put out, and then the statues will be put out.
Yes. Both. If they have little microphones.
Oh my God, please.
And a little like little headphones, a little Keep It Creepy shirt on. My gosh. If the city takes that down, I will burn the city to the ground. I will demand that be given to me and I erect it in my front yard.
I will turn on this city on a fucking dime when it comes to me. I'd put it in my yard too.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I don't have an HOA. I don't.
No.
There's nobody telling me what to do with my yard.
Now, if my neighbors might be like, what? Be like, yeah, it's staying.
Somebody would be like, that house with no yard and all the broken windows. Wow, someone lives there. Shocking.
Yeah, every day we have to go power wash it, all the graffiti off of it. But, it's worth it.
Fine with me.
Well, if you like our free episodes, you'll love our Patreon bonus content. You can join for free to see what we're up to next or dive into over 500 hours of bonus content. And for recent patrons, thank you so much for supporting the show, and make sure you stick around after our sign-offs to hear your shout-out.
And if you want to get some Sinisterhood swag like t-shirts, mugs, totes, and even clothes for your kiddos, visit Sinisterhood.com and click shop on the top banner.
You can also review the show, follow us on socials, and check out the episode description for more fun like topic-based playlists and links to live show tickets at Sinisterhood.com.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Sinisterhood Pod and like us on Facebook at Sinisterhood. We're also on YouTube and TikTok, and you can go to Cameo.com, search Sinisterhood, and book us for your personalized video shout-out. Christy, where are you at on the computer?
I am on Instagram at Christy M. Wallace and Twitter and TikTok at Christy or GTFO. Heather?
I'm on Twitter at MCK versus the world, and I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Heather versus the world.
As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
Keep it creepy. Thank you so much for supporting the show on Patreon. Here are your special Patreon shout-outs. Victoria Collinsworth, Sarah Vera, Isha S., Brittany LaFrenz, Zayla Newsroy, Nicole David, Jamie Robinson, Rachel McCormick, Joni Schofield, Taylor Burkhalter, Mary Hostutler, and Marie Veliskova. Thank you so much for supporting the show on Patreon. We could not do this without you. We sincerely appreciate everything you do for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep it creepy. Mwahaha, Cephalopod.
Sinister.